Hello and welcome to Scrimmij, the only show on the internet that goes very intensely well with a Blackberry. But I just love the 2010s, and I love the vibe that it was when it came to rap, when it came to fashion, when it came to the internet and everything. But one moment that I really like about it is television. You know, they hadn't lost awards just yet to streaming. Very close. They were getting there. You know, Hulu Plus, you know, watching what you were watching, like the night after, right online, boom bop bip. You know, we were getting close. We were getting closer. We weren't over, but there were signs. You know, and I think one of the channels on television that peaked very high in the 2010s was TeenNick. I feel like TeenNick really was special. Like from 2010 to about 2014, I think they were really hitting their stride. Maybe 2015, but like that those perfect 4 years, right when they were they just broke off from their predecessor. We'll talk about that in a few seconds. And you know, they were doing their thing. They had their shows. They of course had their teen dramas and all these things, and they're all that. But they also did have those original teen focused Nick sitcoms, and they mixed together perfectly. And then you throw in 90s Are All That coming on every night. It was a really decent channel. Okay, let's get right into it. This is why I really like TeenNick in the 2010s, how it low-key false advertised me on teenhood, how they're falling, and honestly just a nice call to action. So TeenNick didn't really start as TeenNick. It started off as The N. The N was the late night block of Noggin. Noggin was a preschool channel. They had a ton of they had a ton of the more Nick Jr.-ish shows, and originally started as sort of a thing for older kids, the little preteen market. You know, they were doing their thing. They had Electric Company, Sesame Street. They had a bunch of stuff like that. And furthermore, it was super duper schmooper interactive. Noggin OG was super duper interactive. And you can see some of that sort of go into The N. When The N came out, it of course had tons of good teen dramas. It had Degrassi. It had this really good miniseries, Miracles Boys, Ghost Rider. They spammed Pete and Pete. Oh yeah, they liked Pete and Pete. And Clarissa explains it all. If in general MTV networks as a whole will do one thing, it is work with what they have. They will work with what they have. I forgot to tell you this. They would have Degrassi and Degrassi Old School, which I believe was one of the times when it was Degrassi High, before it was just Degrassi The Next Generation. The N really had this nice style. It was very computery when it first came out. Lots of you're now logging into, or sped up footage and pixels and all those things, you know. It was definitely lots of greens, lots of this. Anyways, in general, I really like it a lot. It really was something that was different. It was very different. They also had little beat makers on their website, and little animation software on their website where you could send in stuff. There were tons of polls. Their forums were a super big thing. They were just really nice. It was a really nice spot. And they also had this slogan of real life now. This kind of came from the fact that all of their teen dramas, while being teen dramas, a lot of them were not just teen dramas for the sake of teen dramas. A lot of them always were ending with a point to an extent, or were being sold as if they were ending with a point. Degrassi, yes, is a teen drama, but also is sort of an after-school special. ¿Tú me entiendes? It's meant to have a point. It's meant for you to be don't do this, you know? There's this one quote that was on the Wikipedia for The N. I remember this. It was the lady who ran the network, put her name up here, just flat out saying, "Oh yeah, I work for Noggin and The N. I have a really bipolar job." I don't think that Tyler, can you say that? I don't think you could just say that, right? You're Wolf era, Tyler. I shouldn't be asking you about what's the right thing to do, morally. We're gonna get back to you. Anyways. Hey, my apologies about the footage currently. I'm editing this on my phone right now and I'm really locked in. The quote is worse. It's not, I have a bipolar job. It's, I have a very schizophrenic job. Sarah, what is wrong with you to say that? They would slowly but surely, you know, move out of this and sort of do a bit more of a softer vibe. As we got closer to like the mid 2000s, you saw them kind of get rid of like the nice hand logo and do this like dual bubble little logo. Both of them amazing logos, and I really like both of their styles. I love how the like circle ones were always like the circle spinning around or the circles like multiplying and all these things. They're nice little inconsequential bumpers to go in between shows, to tell you, hey, we're back from commercial break, etc., etc. You know, I remember one time I was just like staying from school, so I just had like someone who made like a recreation of like a day of like the ad on here. It was really nice to have the little boom and like telling you like, hey, we're back. So I was like, I bet. Let me take this toaster strudel back upstairs. One-on-one is about to come on. By the way, shout out One-on-One. That was a good show. They had One-on-One towards that mid-2000s period. The best years. They definitely locked in on more shows like Kenan and Kel, all that. You know, you started seeing the 90s shows start getting put in more. They also threw in Saved by the Bell. Pretty good show for the end. I feel like, you know, when you hit a block in terms of like the shows you can air that have teens in it from like the past on Nick, and like you're like running low on your like new teen dramas for the year, Saved by the Bell, which is a show about teens, decent choice. Very decent choice. The main show was always Degrassi. And then they were like, you know what? New year, new me. Bye. And they completely dipped from Noggin, becoming their own unique channel, taking over Nick Gas. R.I.P. to the people who are watching Nick Gas. You are now the people that are watching Boomerang and the people that are watching TeenNick, because I don't think you exist anymore. They had Instant Star. Instant Star was actually like the first show they put on there. That was a pretty nice show. It was still the Two Bubbles era, you know, doing their thing. Then boom, Nickelodeon's like, alright, let's just name everything a regular name. Noggin is Nick Jr. The End is TeenNick. Nick Gas is dead. Why is the corpse still there? Are you gonna like put it in a casket or something? I'm not trying to be mean, but like why is it there? And everything else is cool. Lights, camera, action, and of course uniform logos. This would make you think that things were gonna be a bit, things were gonna not have that, you know, sauce. But I think even from like the second that it got implemented, the more aqua looking logo and like photos of everybody moving and like that bumper package was decent. But what was really fire was this bumper package. This bumper package was what I thought my teen life was gonna be. I love these bumpers. They stuck. As you can see, they stuck. You know, they were always in my mind as sort of what teenhood looks like. They were really nice. They were really cool to me. Even the in-between bumpers, you know, the ones where it's like the looping like GIFs and the text over here like BRB or whatever, or don't bounce away, and it'll be like an iCarly bit of them like bouncing on like the freaking, what are the names of those bouncy balls to people? Like the ones with the handles on them, and you were like, does that have a name? Did they? I love this bumper package to death, and all the shows on there as well. You know, we were just getting back a bunch of 2000s or so. So you had your Ned's Declassified, you had iCarly, you had Drake and Josh, you had Sam and Cat, I believe? Maybe? I don't know. Don't quote me on it. That might have came later. But either way, whether it was necessity or not, everything being 4:3 not only gave it a different vibe, it kind of did feed into the whole like teenhood thing of like freaking Instagram, everything's square. Tumblr, usually everything's supposed to be square. You know, like, we're here, we're teens, living it up. Freaking backyard movie party, swag, you know? Why Why did I think that was actually gonna happen? I don't know. And furthermore, the channel as a whole, while it was becoming more and more reruns, House of Anubis was there, so was H2O, but it was still a really dope channel when it came to good dramas, when it came to good Nick reruns, when it came to, of course, again, while it was going away, Degrassi, still pretty decent. If I recall correctly, like, the leaving seasons were still pretty okay. Did I watch? No. Perfectly convenient. I'm here talking about TeenNick, the main teen dramas. Never seen them. But House of Anubis, I seen like 1 or 2 episodes of that. That looked dope, you know? Go team. Every Which Way. Every Which Way. I saw that one. That one was weird. It was like shot like a sitcom, but it was also shot like a telenovela. Or maybe it looked like a Nick sitcom, but felt like a novela. But also like, I don't know. Maybe it was just because maybe the cast just looked Latino in my head. I don't know.
Correct!
It was always a channel you could go to. They would be having a good thing. You could chill, go cook you up a cup noodle, you know. Great summer afternoon, you feel me? Life's grand. I really do miss it. It reminds me of a ton of good memories. Hanging out with my big sister Jaslyn, or just running up Ned's Declassified on like a random Saturday, you know, in the living room or whatever, you know, through On Demand. I loved Ned's Declassified, by the way. That show used to be my jam. It was that. It was Gumball. Over time, as I grew up, you know, was on 3DS more. Shout out Nintendo Minute. Got an iPhone 4. As you heard in the Beyonce video, by the way, go check that out if you like 2010 stuff. You know, go check out probably one of the best albums of the 2010s. I kind of just started to phase away from there. Started rocking with Nicktoons. 2010's Nicktoons was pretty decent. 2010's Nicktoons was pretty decent. You know, they was bumping Harvey Beaks consistently. Harvey Beaks is such a fire show. If you haven't watched it, go see it. Might be better than Over the Garden Wall. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Streets ain't gonna like that. The streets ain't gonna like that. Oh, no. Oh, no. The streets ain't gonna like that. But it's okay. It's okay. I gotta say the truth here. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier for those who are swaggy. You feel me? I started going over to other channels, started doing other things, living my life, hopped on Animal Jam, all that. And kind of just like that, it kind of lost all the glamour. Those bumpers started to get phased out. Nick, 90s Are All That turned into the Splat, turned into Nick Splat, turned into Nick Rewind, turned into Dad. I don't know if anyone else saw this. And please don't misconstrue what I'm about to say here. Is it just me? Or did Nick Rewind play music videos? Yes. But only and specifically of black girl groups. It was specifically and only black girl groups. Never other artists. Never solo artists. Never anyone else. Just only 90s and 2000s black girl group music videos. That's it. I don't know why. That's pretty based. It's pretty based, but also pretty odd because, like, it just feels like it's not a bad pattern. I don't dislike it at all. But it's just like, why specifically and only that? But in general, the glamour started to go, and so did the variety. Teen dramas, dead. TeenNick Top 10, a show that I didn't really talk too much about here. Nick Cannon, he would always be going through, you know, the hottest songs. They let people vote. It was sort of the closest thing to their TRL. They're pretty consistent, you know. Friday night. Okay, Fridays aren't really a big thing in television, but you know what I mean. One of their main shows with their name in it. Cut It. A few Nick shows, sure, good variety, but especially post Nick Rewind, things started to just. They started just. Numbers started going down. 8 started to go down to 6, started to go down to 4, started to go down to 1, started to go down to 1, and Loud House. Why did I say it like that? I said it like they aren't a show. They are, but like they're not teen or real life or good. Not kidding. I really enjoyed TeenNick as a kid, and it was a super duper uber schmooper super duper 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 super. I really enjoyed TeenNick, and it was really sad to see it slowly go. But a call to action to all: please, 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 please don't lose your wonder as you start balling. Corporate flatness is terrible. Please always create. Please always create. Please always try to have a style and keep style, and don't box yourself in. Don't pigeonhole yourself, because we as human beings are amazing creatures, because every single day we get to wake up and we get to do whatever we want. Keep having a style, keep being different. Because the second that you lose style, the second that you lose difference, the more and more you look like everyone else. And the more and more you look like everyone, why is the collar weird? The more and more you look like everyone else, the less that anyone else will go to you. Because you're anyone and everyone else. Got it? Cool. I've been the one and only Scrimmij. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out more. Take care of yourself.